So
I'll call to order the February 19th meeting of the Board of Water Commissioners of the Dirt Fire District. Before we begin, I will ask under Chapter 38 of the General Laws, Section 20, if anyone is recording this meeting, to please let yourself be known. We are recording the meeting. So, is there any public comment? Hearing none, we'll move to the water quality report from Superintendent Wasman.
all right, we had no incidents at all for the cold form. Everything fine there. We did get our BOCs, our volatile organic contaminants done. And that includes MTBE, which we do twice a year. Right now, because of the years ago, we had a problem with it. They came back all non-detect again in MTBE. And the only thing that was detected was, and I noticed it last year too, was a small amount of chloroform.
Right.
Very small, it's below 1. The MCL, I think, is 70 on there. So it's the only thing that we had. It was only a 3, station 2, 3, and 4. But station 1 didn't have it. It was in the middle of 2 and 4 for some reason, and station 5 didn't have it.
Is that all only man-made or naturally?
It's naturally with it could be from anything in the ground.
I think if you add, we're adding some chlorine, it's not
Right.
else. I think chlorine combined with any organic matter can form chlorine. Thick.
Yeah,
So it's you're
yeah, chloramines and
Yeah.
stuff, you can, yeah.
Yeah.
So that being said, she did put in the sodium results and the PFAS results in here. We did not test. Yeah, I think these are the updated results that are there that we had last time. We will be doing sodium either at the end of this month or the beginning of next month. Put in, we do it once a quarter now. So we will be doing it. DEP asked us to do it at one of the stations. Because it's required, and it was actually quite low. And that's station 4, which has been going down a little bit every time we tested. It seems been around 17. I think it was 13 this time. So we'll just test the raw with that. We do it. The samples and everything else, and use that sample when we go through. That's wonderful.
Superintendent.
You gotcha.
Excuse me, you're gonna go over Tom's report later?
I know that it's on the agenda, I believe, to
Okay.
under source water, the test policy.
All right, that's fine.
I thought we might hit it there.
Yep.
It'd be the
No
easiest
problem.
way.
Okay.
So Mike, this is the superintendent's report read on February 15th, 2025 for January of 2025. In January of 2024, we pumped 5,950,000 gallons of water. In January of 2025, did I say 25 or 24 the first time?
You said 20.
Okay, 25, we get 7,270,000 gallons of water, or an increase of 1,320,000. It's a lot of water for the increase there, but you know, we had a nice July, January was warm. Not warm, but you know, it was kind of dry. And we also had a leak go on during January, which could have helped out there a little bit. We had a radial crack, you know, a 6-inch water main. We don't know how long it was going, but we did fix it the day that we found it, and it was done within 4 hours. Under association news, Boston County Water Utilities really isn't doing much right now in the off season. They haven't even heard about a meeting. Probably in 3 months from now, they do throw out something a little every once in a while on their take of everything with Jen Peterson. New England Waterworks and Mass Waterworks throwing a combined annual conference up in Worcester, which I will be attending. I think it's April 2nd and 3rd. And Mass Rural, along with Mass Water and New England, all have classes that they've just thrown out for their February and March schedule, which Mass Rural does a very discounted rate for us. It helps out a lot. General Inspector did do 2 new services. Got a cottage that was built behind a house over on Main Street here, and a new house built down on Peppercorn Lane. We did have a leak that I just told you about.
Where is the leak?
The leak was at the corner of Lake Street and Highland,
Okay,
with a natural big puddle is all the time.
Yep.
Yeah, that was right there, so it helped out, you know, that's the corner. I got a few things on here. One thing I'd like to talk about is the generator down at Station 1. We'll get into it a little more when we're talking about budget and everything else. We had a problem with the ATS down at Station 2, first of all. We had to replace that, which we encumbered money from last year. Prices came up a little higher because the person that was going to do it left. They had to get another electrician in. We finally got that done. We're doing the startup on that tomorrow. Hopefully. The guy's coming down, so hopefully everything's fine, it worked fine. Station 1, as you know, is down. I think I reported last time. Colony of mice have moved in down there. And eating all the wires up, which, fun fact, I didn't realize that they put soy in the cup and the coating on wires now. That's why rabbits and mice and everything eat the wires. They think it's food. They did it back when they were trying to be more natural. Instead of putting the plastics on it, they're doing a soy base to it, and now it's gone to the point where everyone's saying it's food. And the only reason I know that is because the dog on this might be covered by insurance. So I called the insurance and the adjuster told me that story. So he talked to me. There's a good chance it isn't covered by insurance because it says it doesn't cover infestation or rodent control, something to that effect. So he said, unless we can figure out another way around it, it doesn't look like it, but you want to see the pictures and go through and fight for us. So it's going to cost me $4,000 to have it picked up and shipped back to the company. They're going to have to bring a crane in, pick it up, put it on the back of the truck, drive it to the place, put it down, then they'll take it apart and see if it can be fixed. I didn't want them to do that without finding out if the insurance is going to pay for it first, or if I would mess up anything by picking it up, in case they want to take pictures and stuff. So it's kind of tough. I wanted to put something in to either fix it or replace it this year. Doesn't look like that's going to happen with waiting for insurance to find out and everything else. We might have to go a year without a generator at one of the stations, or talk about a special meeting, something like that.
the lack of a generator, does that mean the well is down?
Yes. No, it's not down. No, it's down if we don't have power.
We don't,
Correct.
And
Which doesn't happen that often. It's 500 gallons a minute out of the 25 that we have.
let me ask you this, what if the power outage is in the summer peak pumping season? How bad off will we be?
It could be troublesome.
We get a hurricane and all.
Right. If we get a hurricane, but I don't know if, when we don't have power, people are gonna be running the sprinkler
I was
system
just gonna say, would
and stuff like that, you know, that it's not gonna be coming on automatically or things like that, so. Whenever we have something where there's a big power loss, usually our volume goes down quite a bit. I've never had to have everything run at once in a situation like that. The only thing I would be afraid of is if we had a huge hurricane. 4 out of 5 are with propane. One of them's on natural gas. So we still could pump our largest one at 1,000 gallons a minute if we had to stay up. If we couldn't get any propane trucks in there to refill a tank.
Okay.
That would be my only
Yeah.
concern about if we had something where we couldn't get a propane truck in. Or I've also been told that there's a natural, if we were to be attacked, first thing they do is shut off the gas supply underground so that nobody can blow it up and blow up the house. So we wouldn't be able to run the line, but we'd be able to run it up, that's up for a while. Kind of get off it there, but go ahead.
Do we need to remove the generator with a crane in order for insurance to rule, or can insurance make a ruling now?
Insurance can make the ruling now, and that way, that's what I'm waiting on, but then to make their ruling now, because what they have said to me was, if everything has gone off and we can't replace these wires and everything else, you should look at a new generator.
Right.
Altogether, which could be up to $80,000 to $100,000.
Oh,
Yeah. But it's good, like I said. It's $4,000 to get it there, then another $1,500 to get it back, put it back in after the repairs. So it's $4,000 running it home, what can be done.
so. May I ask another question? Or maybe I missed this, but it sounded like the soy-based wire. Insulator
Yeah,
was the root of the problem,
yes.
but does that require the whole generator to be replaced, or is that just a power cable to it? Or something?
It's the wire to help it to run, they got into the gen set itself. And have all the little wires, the components that are going on. I haven't seen the pictures, I think Jen saw some of them, and she was like, whoa.
So the whole generator needs to be replaced.
It was
As
extensive.
opposed to, I was wondering,
I don't think that they can just rewire. I'm not an electrician. I don't even play one on TV, but I don't think it's gonna be able to be rewired. It looks like they have to replace the guts of it. It was bad.
And I don't know if they could just replace the generator part of the motor.
yeah, that's what I'm trying to figure out.
And I think what he had said to me was, if you do that, you should change everything.
Yeah.
You shouldn't put an old motor on a new generator.
What's our risk at the other generators?
I have, since then, I have hired, Fowler to come in, and we have two big giant rat boxes, mice boxes there, so that it will eradicate the problem.
And that's practice.
No, it's the baits that go off to the nest and everybody eats a little of the baits and everything.
Rat traps.
Correct, they're just their homes, that they go in and they're,
Physically checking them.
yeah, they're going in every month and changing, making sure the baits, he said some of the baits haven't been touched yet, but some are gone.
Now, I recall some Fowler bills on the warrant. How long have we been using them? Just since.
Just about a month, this is the second month, third
Well,
month,
we've been using flowers for a long time.
For years, yes.
Quarterly pest control, and we have since added this, I think it's up to $25 a month.
yeah, the stations.
Yeah.
It's always been at the office, they do, insect control, like when we get ants sometimes into the stations, they have to use a mint spray to drive them out. We can't use anything toxic, so they can't put anything down there, any kind of toxic stuff, so we do have to use safety stuff when we do it.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, sir.
hi, everybody. I'm gonna be turning off my camera in a little bit, so but I'll still be there listening, participating. How old is that generator, Chris? Is it fulfilled its useful lifespan yet or not?
No, it's not, I wanna say that was put in 2010. So I had all that down on my desk that I'd submitted to the insurance company, and I believe it was 2010 that it went in.
Thank you.
Yep. We actually got all of them done off a state contract. And we got them at a discounted rate. We put them in, they were pretty cheap. Had them done through a contract that I don't believe is effective anymore.
What's the likelihood that we'll know from insurance and be able to make a decision about whether to put this forward on the budget for?
I'm hoping to know within 2 weeks.
Awesome.
So if we don't finalize it, I mean, we could always put something and remove it. On the warrant, we had to. Next on my discussion list here is, I don't know if everybody saw it, I know Mark did, we've been put into a severe drought. It's class 2 drought right now. It doesn't affect our water management permit because it basically runs on management, the levels of the well that we have to test runs from March to September. And that's when they monitor, you know, we put out no watering or anything like that. Basically, all they ask now is that people are concerned about it and know about it. Think about it before they take a shower, take a short shower, you know, do dishes and not unless it's full, stuff like that. But that did come out 2 weeks ago. And it's tough because we've been so wet this month. I've seen the well go up over an inch in the last 3 days. Not the last, you know, week, basically, yeah. Recently it went up, unbelievable, but I will tell you that it's actually an inch lower right now than it was at this time last year.
Well, last year was almost record high.
Yeah, yep, and the levels that they ask at, it's teetering around where in March, if it sticks around these levels, it goes about, you know, half an inch lower, it stays consecutively in 60 days, we'll have to put out mandatory, no watering, outdoor watering or anything like that.
Why don't we in the interim put something on the website and submit something to the Civic Association newsletter?
Yeah, throw something out on the web, and the webpage, and the Facebook, yeah.
I'll work with you to draft something.
Okay. Now, last month, I also talked about the applications that we got in. That we really only had one qualified applicant to look at. I did interview him. I was going to hire him. When I called to offer him the job, he said, I just took a job with so-and-so. So we have a couple more avenues. Jen had mentioned to me today about a possibility of a job, someone that works for Mass Hire and stuff like that, to be able to put, maybe if there's any kind of shows coming up where they're putting out a
Job fairs.
shop fairs, you know, your job fairs or something like that showing up. I do know that right now, Bourne and the Boston County Water Utilities have fought to have some programs going on for the Kid Contact now, where they're taking people in to do internships and stuff like that to help out with credits and trying to get them to push it a little bit more through the school and everything. Which can help us, you know, because you gotta get younger people the amount of people that are on the workforce now over the age of 40 is unbelievable. It's like 3/4 of the amount of people that are in the field. It's ridiculous how many people are, you know, 20 years from retirement. Yeah, what's gonna happen in 20 years, we don't know. Yeah. The other thing on here is, I don't know if you guys remember last year's dilemma with the W-2s, where we waited and waited and waited and finally get the one that, you know, was new, right? They submitted them out same way this year, not wrong.
Same way wrong.
Yeah, wrong, yeah, they get it again, yes. And after we had told them not to, and Ray right away caught it and said, hey, you know, we need new ones by the 31st. You guys messed up.
So they're gonna fix it.
They fixed it, they thought, and sent it out, and I noticed it online and said, hey, we got the new ones. And then about an hour later, I looked at it, looked at mine, and picked it up, looked at it, and they reversed it the wrong way. So the new ones that they made are actually wrong still.
It does this,
It's called Paychecks, is the name of the company. Yeah, so it's still wrong, and I presented it to Ray in an email, and poor Ray right now has caught this flu. So he's been home all week and everything else. He sent me a quick email. He's like, let me get over this. You know, the flu, and then I'll hit it and everything else. But I just wanted to be, you guys to be aware that it's out there in case something happens and we could ask you guys to step in at all or anything like that.
Wow.
Yeah. See, it's unbelievable, yeah. So I'm the last one in the family that gets to do their taxes this year. But the last thing I have on here is with our company, Secure Networks, who does our maintenance on our computers and everything else. Our domain goes through GoDaddy, I guess it is, and or to a org. What we didn't realize is they only allow you to pay through credit card. In the past, they had an employee there that paid with their credit card. And then they got reimbursed through we paid. That employee is gone. None of the employees there want to do it anymore. So Jen forwarded this on to, Ray and Lisa, with Ray still being sick and all. Lisa said, well, sometimes, we don't have a credit card here, so somebody has to step up and put it on their credit card, basically. And she says, I do it for some stuff that everybody gets done on and they reimburse me. I don't think that's a good practice. I hate to say it, but you gotta buy the 2-year contracts. It's just, I don't think that you should require something here. I understand that they make us pay for our classes ahead of time, because the law says that if we fail it, then it's up to us. They don't get reimbursed until you pass it. So this is something that.
Carry a different service?
I don't.
They've also said that we can pay with a debit to a bank account. It doesn't have to be a credit card because the municipal doesn't have
Can we
a
do
credit card. Finance is not agreeable to that. They want an employee to put it on their personal
Oh.
expense and get reimbursed.
Really?
I mean, there are several services where we could secure a domain name. It doesn't have to be GoDaddy, but we already have it.
Well, in the interim, I'll volunteer to put it on my credit card. I'll file reimbursement. Come over to the office. You don't want to let it lapse because.
Right.
if
It's
it was
due at the end
active,
of, yes,
it's due at the end of the month.
yeah, at the end of March, I think.
Okay.
So I'll find out from Secure Networks. I'll get a link.
I don't understand why the treasurer won't put it on the card
Yeah.
district's checking.
Might be something of interest.
Yeah.
I mean, they
I don't know if the district can get a credit card. I know that the water department used to have one for a gas station down the street. When there was a Texaco gas station down the street, we go in there with a credit card and we get paid every month. I don't know what it is with credit cards, if it's because there's interest paid and they can't pay interest. I don't know what the reason is behind it.
I mean, only speculating. I can guess that they might have some security concerns about putting our district's bank account number into somebody's domain to submit a payment, and I get that. But they could get they could get a debit card that's only used for those kind of situations. That is available to a municipality.
I'm planning on attending the next budget committee meeting to talk about budget, so I'll ask about it.
That seems odd.
Yeah,
Doesn't
So
sound like a practice.
W2s, credit cards.
On that same kind of note, we've also forwarded them some information that the post office has notified us that any mailings with our bulk permit have to be done and paid for online. I've asked them how they would like us to handle mailings going forward. I have not gotten a response to that, but that would be $1,000 mailing to the post office that an employee is not going to put on their personal credit card.
Okay,
So that, and when we send it, I thought our next mailing was actually gonna be July with the bills, but we're gonna have to send out the CCRs separately because we're not doing March bills this year.
got it.
So it's gonna come up sooner rather than later.
Yeah,
that's what I thought.
thank you.
But it wasn't.
Under old business, we'll move on to source water protection test laws. CWMP update. Commissioner West.
Yeah, not a lot to report on the CWMP. I think the minutes here reflect pretty well, pretty current what's going on. We are having a meeting. I don't remember the date, so I don't want to misquote it, but early March. And the next agenda is to have Mark Milne come in, who's the financial person for the town, to discuss financing options for the plan, which is a big deal. And not my strong suit, so I'm looking to learn a little bit more about, but there are, you know, a whole bunch of different grant financing programs out there that, you know, some of which may be applicable here as well. So that's the next discussion, and I'll report back on that once we, after that meeting at our, I guess at our next March meeting. But that's the only update I have on the CRB. Oh, actually, the only other thing I guess related to this, I did ask GHT to put together a preliminary proposal on the wastewater situation. They did not have time to do it prior to person leaving on vacation, so that's postponed to the next meeting also. Yeah, but I would like to, I got a couple of questions on this PFAS monitoring situation.
Yep. Yeah, that's
Move
next
to
to
that.
that. Yep.
It's great that, first of all, thanks to Tom to do this. I guess my read on it is, our well up near Mariner Circle, which I guess is SS2, is that right?
It's talking, yeah.
Here's the map.
There's a little map there. Yeah, I saw that. Oh, right.
SS1 is closest.
Yeah,
Oh, SS1,
yeah, yes.
is that one? No, SS.
This is two.
One is the one up close.
Is that it?
It says SS1. It's
That's
SS1.
Mariner Circle, I guess?
Yep.
Here?
Yep.
Okay. So I think. Oh, you're right, SS1. So I think what you found, my interpretation is that even though the concentration went down a little bit, I think the more important message to me is we did confirm that we have a pretty high level.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah, we got two measurements now, right? Both are close to the 20 number. So I think again, I think it's something we're gonna watch. And Chris, the question I have for you is, it looks like according to that map you showed me, it was here too. There we go. That lines up with, kind of, oops, sorry,
Yep.
number station 2.
Okay, yeah.
More than anything else. Which of these wells, production wells, have we finding PFAS in?
One.
One, oh, right there.
Yeah,
So it's pretty well lined up.
it is, yeah.
Yeah, that was kind of my take. So, I don't know what the action here is, but I feel like this is a potential source.
I believe we gotta keep an eye on it.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Yeah,
The other thing is, I didn't realize, but you got the report from Mark.
I did. Oh, you didn't get it?
I did,
Okay.
I did, and I didn't realize that, sorry, until, I think it was yesterday that, Dave did not get it. So I sent it to him, just so, yeah,
Okay.
so I sent it to him, because I didn't realize he wasn't CC'd in on it. And everything, but I do like hearing that there is a larger that could identify a little more. But I did talk to Dan White, who is the, manager over at Barnstable County.
Yeah.
They just got certified in doing PFAS at there.
Okay.
As a matter of, he said that day, he came in the morning and the certification that I called him. But it's the same one we've been doing. And I asked him about this, I think it's ACC, they call it ACC2 or something to that effect. They're probably off on those numbers, but the one that does the 32 or 64 large units is not recognized by DEP, Massachusetts Department of Environmental Protection. But if you're not using it for that, that's fucking, we're not submitting it to them, we're just trying to find out where the stuff's coming from. I would suggest that we do that. He'll have to send it away to analytical. And it's maybe another $100 to do it. It's a little more money and everything else. He said they're like $500 a cent to do, but that could at least tell us what kind of PFAS is coming, whether it's related to firefighting foam or something else.
Yeah, I'm not sure what I want to recommend as the next step, but I continue to be concerned about that. If they do lower the standard to 4, which is the proposal, I think
Yeah.
our level there was what? Production well?
There's the production.
Yeah, it's about 6 points up in the.
So that's the most recent.
Yeah, it was a third two.
Two on Station 5.
Oh, actually, but we're talking station 1, right, Chris? That's the one that's.
Oh, station 1, yes.
So here's 6.
Yeah, that was a while back when we first tested it.
Right.
In April. When is our next production PFAS test?
April.
April.
So, I mean, if you're suggesting maybe there's a trend down, right? 6, 6, 9, 2, 6, 2, non-detect. No result here.
It's all over the place. I think it's the way the wind's blowing that day.
Also, it's such a low level.
Right.
It's, it's easy to, get a different number or revenue. But I continue to think that could be a source, I guess is what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
And this gets to be tricky stuff. When you start pointing your finger at somebody, there's a lot of legal action, et cetera, But I guess for now, like you said, the next round of sampling the production wells will be in April, you said?
In April, yes. We're not supposed to do 2, but we suggested 5. So we'll do all 5. in
I think
April.
so,
Yeah.
I think so. This is who knows what's gonna happen with the standard getting changed. My guess is under the new administration, less likely, right?
Right.
But nonetheless, I mean, I think our customers are interested and concerned, as they should be.
Yeah.
And the fact that we've detected levels that are above proposed standard, that's of concern to me. And we have a site now that we detected twice at, what's it, 4 times, more than 4, 4 times the critical concentration of 4
Yeah.
out there. So I don't know. I think for now, let's, maybe are you suggesting this person you were talking about could do the sampling?
No, we'll still do the regular sample that DEP has to have.
I know it's on the monitoring.
On the monitoring well, I would suggest that, if Tom,
Have him do it again?
yeah, he can do it again and he can send it to analytical. I'll just talk to him about setting it up with analytical
And the
and we
cost,
reimburse him.
what's the cost of roughly of having?
It's like $500 a piece instead of the, 400, whatever it was, 375 that he paid last.
That's
We paid for him, I think, last time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Mr. Chairman, I would suggest that we continue to invest in watching that site. So maybe maybe we just have Tom get him on a schedule where we do a quarter.
I can suggest that. Yeah.
And then let's see what happens. And maybe we need to consult an LSP, which I think Tom is, right? Or Mark Nelson, just find out about how we might approach.
He's an analyst, I'm pretty sure he is.
Yeah. I guess the owner of that site is, what's the printing company, right?
They sold not too long ago. It used to be, the Lally's lot. Now it's owned by somebody else that had cleaned it up. And then they have like gravel there now and stuff like that. But it's
No, it's mostly landscaping.
correct, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm not sure who the owner is of it.
Without
look it up.
knowing the exact address to look it up, I can't tell you.
So that'd be my recommendation, that we get Tom to continue to sample that, maybe quarterly. It's
About $1,600 for Tom, just so you know.
That's his work
Budget,
the
$1,600 for the invoice for sole source, plus the expense of the testing.
for each round to do one sample, really?
Well, he has to get equipment from
Yeah,
somebody.
Yeah, he borrows it from Diane Hans, lets us use his, he's got a pitcher pump that he lets us use.
How about semi-annually then? Twice per year? Get another round?
We could do it every 6 months and just keep monitoring from there.
I'll make a motion to,
Well,
so I move that we, on a semi-annual basis,
Okay,
continue testing at the 2 test wells.
yeah, I think so. Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Good.
I'd like to read into the record from Tom Camberry's report.
Yep.
Just to make it clear that the water is not, the drinking water is not above any limits.
Yes. Correct.
EPA recently published additional limitations of PFAS in drinking water, lowering the threshold to 4 nanograms per liter for PFAS and PFOA. The December PFAS concentration of 2.62 nanograms per liter is below the EPA standard, but is an increase from the non-detection of last April. Although PFOA in groundwater from SS1, that is the test well used in 28, decreased from 5.98 to 4.04 nanograms per liter, it remains marginally above the EPA drinking water standard. The Mariner well is located approximately 2,000 feet up gradient of the nearest well. Because the water from SS1 is not used for drinking water, there is no particular action required. So that's just to clarify that this is a test well, not a production well that we're talking about.
Thank you, good point.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, Commissioner Robertson.
I'm getting about half this conversation because of the reverb and whatnot, but is there some indication that we should be striking up a relationship or contact with the commercial vendors on that part of Route 28, just to, hey, how you doing? We just want to, share our concerns, and not an accusation or anything, just to find out the processes. Maybe Chris has done that. I don't know. I couldn't follow all of this.
I have not talked to them over there about anything of concern right now.
But I do think there's some procedures that we need to be aware of here under the mass contingency plan, because this can get into legalities, and I agree, I think, with your thought about trying to do this on a cooperative basis, but I think we just need to be careful, both for ourselves as well as them, because this can get into a bigger deal. And my suggestion would be that we consult with either Tom or Mark, our two LSPs who we've talked to, about how to approach this. That would be my recommendation. But I think I agree with you, Mark, that assuming they're in agreement with this idea, I have no problem with trying to be cooperatively working with the landowner. That makes sense.
Yeah, I would think that any responsible business owner who's drinking our water would be concerned about what's going into it. But maybe that's
Right.
not.
I would agree. The email that you forwarded to me yesterday, Chris, offered to do additional fingerprinting of the PFAS to get a more accurate idea.
Correct, that's what I was saying about the larger test being 500 rather than the 400 cost to do the test that we have that DEP doesn't recognize. We could do that on these test wells, and that way I can tell you more of what kind of contaminant you get.
It would be helpful to have that information, I think, before having a discussion with any.
With somebody, okay.
Yeah, we don't want to point the finger if it's not appropriate.
Well, if it was a firefighting foam and there was a runway, it's hypothetical airport across the street, then we would be able to say,
Right.
yeah, airport, don't
Right.
use the foam. But until we have that information, I would
Right,
recommend we test and we do the fingerprinting, find out.
sounds good, yeah, I agree.
Okay?
Yep.
Is that it, Commissioner Morrison?
Yes, that's it. Thank you.
Under conservation restriction school property, I have nothing to report, and that is on me to chase the town attorney. I have not done that. Commissioner Robinson, do you have any information on the conservation restriction?
No, I've heard nothing.
Enabling legislation update. Carol Zace, the president of the Santuit Civic Association, informed me that in speaking to Representative Kip Diggs's legislative assistant, that we're back to the starting line on the proposed change to the enabling legislation. It has to go back into committee. And the recommendation this time is to have Senator Julian Sear file it. But there was a question as to whether the legislature and the governor will act on the proposed amendment before annual district meeting. I have put a phone call into the fire district's attorney Mark Boudreau, asking for clarification if the amendment is approved by the legislature, does it need to come back as a warrant article at the annual meeting for further approval? He was going to look into that. He has not gotten back to me since. So there's still some questions there. That's it for the enabling legislation. Mark, any updates on sodium workshop follow-ups?
No, I haven't been able to do anything for a few weeks.
Understandable. Including all business, we'll move to new business and start with the fiscal year 2026 budget discussion. Thank you, Jen, for preparing the worksheet. Starting with salaries, the Prudential Committee asked us to consistently stick to a cost of living adjustment. And I propose that we go with the Social Security Administration's cost of living adjustment for 2025 at 2.5%.
Just a question, is that the one that Jay, I know we had this debate last year.
Unless we run off the executive, off of the Biden.
So this is the one they want.
This is the one that, okay, this is the consistent.
And I'm in agreement with that.
I believe I missed the percentage rate.
2.5. These veteran commissioners who have gone through this process before, what will need to be prepared? I think, for the next meeting?
So. I think this coming, have they invited you to share a mid-year update? Nothing on that, okay. So I thought it was March that you go before them to present the budget. I don't know if that sounds right.
I was looking at the minutes as I was doing the draft for the annual report and it showed a February 23rd meeting last year for Commissioner, Chairman Ben Roberts.
Okay. So they will ask you to present the proposed O&M budget, as well as any capital expenditures. And I think at that point, they're really looking for things that they're going to need to fold into their budget and be prepared to approach the district for. It's also a good time to understand what the fire department is asking for versus what Prudential is asking for, what we're asking for, if we're putting forward a really big ask at annual district meeting for all the appropriations for the district. So I can give you whatever detail you want behind, whatever level of detail you want behind the operating and maintenance budget, and we'll discuss the appropriations as
Why
well.
don't we start from the bottom line and move up?
Okay.
So our proposed fiscal 2026 budget is a grand total of $912,523, so representing a 2.51% increase or $22,000 over the previous fiscal.
And that is exclusive of any changes we talk about tonight for salary. Right now, the salary budget is level. So that will be increased by the 2.5 COLA you just talked about.
Except for overtime and on-call.
So what's going on with those line items right now is, so here's what I have in the salary budget right now. We are planning for worst case scenario. So let's say we don't hire operator C between now and the end of next June. The on-call budget assumes the on-call rate that we discussed a few months ago for the two senior operators who are sharing the duty on a bi-weekly rotation versus a tri-weekly rotation, is that a word, tri-weekly? So it would assume that those two operators continue at that higher rate for all 52 weeks next year. It would also assume in the overtime rate that the entirety of the overtime, other than the 24 hours that we budget for me to attend these meetings, is divided between the senior operators at their rate. So worst case scenario, here's the high level. We also included in there 62.4 for operator C. And that would assume that we hire operator C effective July 1st at $30 an hour, which is the highest amount that we have posted the position for. So one way or another, those three line items, one of them would come in under budget. Either the salary is going to come in under budget or the overtime and on-call is going to come in.
I see. So the overtime and the on-call is worst case if we continue to operate down and up.
Correct.
Great. Moving into maintenance, there's no real exceptional changes there. I mean, it's $500 more than the previous year. And under operations, it's less.
Correct. And a lot of that has to do with the elimination of the 2 minimum use bill mailings.
I see.
And our consumption assessment, but that's minimal.
Any questions or comments, commissioners?
We don't have any actual expenditures in the last audited fiscal year here to compare, right?
I have that. I can share my screen with that one. Stand by.
Oh, yeah, that's right. This is appropriated budget,
Right.
not actual expenditures.
I mean, I can show you where Mark, what do you want to see? Where we're at year to date this year or what we did compared to budget last year?
Whatever makes sense to you, John.
Okay. So I'll bring up where we are year to date this year, probably the most relevant because of the price increases we've seen in this past year.
And those numbers would be comparable to the FY 25 budget, right?
For a half a year.
But that,
Yeah,
For half the year.
yeah, half
right?
the year, right.
Okay. Can you see that one, Mark?
Yes.
Okay. So, our biggest concern was with obviously, electricity and HVAC. To see where we are year to date compared to what we budgeted. If you take a look at the electricity line right here, we had budgeted 95,000. We have spent 51.4 to date. And when I looked at the budget numbers for fiscal 26, I put in our actual spending from July through February for, what we spent this month. I mean, this year with the increase in rates. And then I took what we spent last year, March through June, and applied the increase factor of 75%, because that's what we've seen as our electric bills increased by 75%. And it came in just over 91,000. So I thought by leaving 95 in that line item, it was a pretty reasonable yet conservative approach. The HVAC is a little bit, right now it's a little bit more volatile, and I even budgeted it. We have spent half of what we were approved to spend last year. But we know our February bill is not gonna be pretty. So,
I'm sorry, 51.4, you mentioned 51,400. what period of time is that for?
So that's our actual bills for July through February, the July through February bill. Obviously, February activity we get billed for in March, so
That's 7 months,
yes,
so that looks pretty,
pretty spot on, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
So, I don't understand, what's the problem? Oh, No problem.
Not a problem,
okay.
but
I thought you were
it's,
suggesting we're gonna be going over it.
it's lines that we paid particular attention to, knowing where the rate increases, well, our electric bill, we're locked into through fiscal year 26, our rate, so I'm pretty comfortable,
Yeah,
even with the increase in our bill, that we will be sufficiently budgeted by even budgeting it.
so does the 51,000 include the rate increase?
The last month or two has been higher,
I see.
and it does include,
I got you, okay,
right,
I got you.
you know, come April, our HVAC bill is gonna drop, but our electric bill will go up because we're pumping, depending on what our pumpage is,
And that's like, is it delivery or is it at the demand?
demand.
Demand, right?
It's the
And one
delivery.
of them, they said it's gonna stay the same, while the other's gonna be going up. They just said electric bills, I can't remember which one it was.
I'm gonna ask a question that probably is not a
You asked
smart
the right.
question. I suspect the pumping capacity stuff to run the system, we pump it up into the tank or we pumping to delivery,
They're pumping into the system, but it is filled tanks, yeah.
so it's high. What I was gonna ask is there any potential role in the future for solar water pumps? Or are they just not powerful enough?
I haven't heard of anybody that has them, so I'm not gonna say no,
Yeah,
I don't know what the,
because I know the industry has really come quite a ways, but my guess is it's smaller capacity pumps. I know we had a fiasco a few years ago about the idea of building a solar field,
right.
but, I've always been interested, I've used solar pumps in my work, with more smaller scale.
Yeah, yeah, this,
Water treatment.
these are 40 horsepower motors that are starting on a 100 horsepower motor.
Yeah.
You know, so I don't know what the demand would be on that,
Yeah, is that what it is, 40 horsepower?
yeah, we have 440 and 100.
Well, it's not,
Yeah,
trying to ask.
yeah,
Interest, it's a huge budget item,
It's huge, it's 20%
yeah,
of the
Yeah.
budget is
right,
electricity.
and we do get, you know, credits back. Also, we get paid, you know, metering credits from a solar company, someplace else. That get put back in the municipality, so we do get, I think it's 12 cents per kilowatt hour or something. We get a check for sometimes $1,200, $1,400 a month, something like that. That gets to go back into the general fund, so it kind of sets it off, but we don't put it into the electric bill. It gets to put in the electric to the.
It goes back into the general.
Yeah.
And I want to say it, I'm looking, so I don't give you bad information.
I guess the other question I'm thinking about is I wonder. How heavy of a, how much of this is related to our peak pumping in the summer? Like, does the unit cost go up when we're pumping peak versus what I'm getting at again is the irrigation stuff, we paying a premium.
We're not paying, they're running long. We're not paying any different, right? I mean, the peak hours or something like that, yeah, you try to run at night so that you're not running during peak hours. Like sometimes we'll look at the stations and instead of shutting one off, the guys are really great at, you know, looking at the, before they go to bed, dialing in, looking to see which pump to shut off, and instead of shutting them off while one's running and then another one. They know that demand would kick up that much more. They let the other one shut down, then they switch the pumps over, you know, after one of the others stops. So we do try to put out there all the concerns that we can.
Yeah.
Optimization. Yeah, you know, and this is something I never did when I was, you know, we didn't have the ability to dial in, you know, and do this stuff. And these guys, you know, kind of surprised me one day until I didn't ask them to do it. So this is what I'm, you know, you guys haven't asked yet, but everybody got great scores this year with their, yeah, sure.
Evaluation.
Yeah, their valuations came excellent. You know how much the guys have had to step up because of employees. You know, and it's demanding on them, and they haven't complained hardly at all. Jen's good to deal with the public. No offense to you guys, but you guys have made her like horrible at times with the increases, you know. We got people going, there is no way. You know, and she does a great job with them, calms them down. I can't tell you how, I would love to find one more just as nice as the ones I have to make, you know, not to be bad. But the guys that I have in Jen, I couldn't be happier. And they all scored excellent, above excellent, and everything, just to let you know when it came down to that, yeah.
So you feel like we are optimizing the energy usage to run the system?
I do. The only other way I could think of possibly doing it would to have a firm come in and say to me, okay, your SCADA system has the ability to only, you know, to go up and down, and if your pumps run up and down as demand calls, and there is that, but my SCADA system doesn't have that ability. There are SCADA systems that do. You'd have to put a different kind of SCADA system in there to run them differently. But they do have a way to run them so that at peak hours, you know, they're picking up speed or they're lowering their speed, so they're not drawing as much energy and everything else.
Yeah.
They're running longer instead of fast.
Our CVAC credits last year were $68,000, so 2/3 of our expense was recouped in CVAC dollars. Now, some of that could have been from the period before, but that's
Yeah.
the carryover is gonna happen this fiscal year.
You said 68,000?
$68,125.30.
Wow.
Maybe this is something we put on our list, Mr. Chairman, something to revisit at some point, doesn't it? It's the largest item on our budget. It'd be nice to be as sustainable as we can. I mean, it'd be nice to spend less money on energy if we can, but.
Yeah.
And,
I mean, if we got $68,000 back,
yeah,
basically, that gives us what, a $30,000 electric bill for the year? In all actuality, that's not,
It's not that.
yeah, it's considering, yeah. And it goes up, I think, every 5 years or something like that. I want to say we had it go up a little bit more, like 13 cents at a certain point. Something like that. I'll have to look at the contract again.
Oh, the cost of,
Yeah,
yeah,
the
it
credits.
used to be, oh, the credits.
Yeah.
That I don't know.
Okay.
The ground lease escalates. 3%.
Yeah. Ground lease brings in a lot to it. Yeah.
Mhm.
if we move on to salaries, then that's the big one, right?
Yeah.
Did you want to talk about the 5-year cap plan? You want to do it with just salary? Up to you.
Must do something.
Okay.
So you're showing level funded. This shows no,
I don't put in any salary recommendations until you guys tell me what to put in.
well, my biggest concern is retention. Of staff, and particularly as we shorthanded. I don't want to burn anyone in. We go down another operator.
We're not gonna stop trying, believe me, and like I said, Jen's got a couple other things, we have a couple of employees from the past that we still have numbers on too. I made a couple phone calls that didn't apply last time because it seemed that we might have been paying too little, and it wasn't enough to make them leave the jobs they were at. So now that we've increased the pay and what we can offer, I might make a couple phone calls and just say, just revisit it.
Yeah.
You know, and I just didn't, we talked about this a few days ago, and just, we've been busy putting this together and other things going on.
Mhm.
When I wanna take a little stress off the guys, if I could, a little.
Good. Did we settle on a COLA for this year?
Yeah, the Social Security Administration's call for the year is 2.5%. The Prudential Committee asked us to stick to that,
Mhm.
which is the lowest they've done in 4 years, so. Um,
I think last year we used cost of living index, which is different, right?
yeah, we did,
And they didn't like that.
no.
Right. I didn't like that at all. And refresh my memory on what we were talking about, some longevity bonuses this year, was that correct?
We have raised that in the past, yes. Well, we've got a sheet here that shows us what the increases in the past have been. The one that I think cost the Prudential Committee the most fits was in fiscal 23. No, I don't, or 24. Last year we did a 6% increase.
Yeah, well, that was the COVID run up in prices. We were trying to reflect that, I think. I think that's what we did.
Well, who wants to go first?
But just one other question, are these, like it says 6%, is that in addition to the cost of living COLA, or is that
No, that was
inclusive? Okay. Okay. I have a hard time with this, you know, it's really hard
Jen,
to-
Jen and Chris, can you remind us what the longevities are now for all of you?
What year are you at, Chris?
I
You
just,
got a
let's
longevity
see, hold on.
bonus.
I just got my
23.
38th year.
In 23?
38.
On November of 24, I started my 38th year, so I'm on my 38th year now.
I think Chris got a longevity bonus at 35 years in fiscal 23.
Yes,
And then I hit 10 years last July 1st. JR hit 10 years this January. JR, don't yell at me, the 5th or the 8th. One's his birthday, one's his anniversary. And then Matt will hit 10 years this coming July
Really?
1st.
Oh.
What kind of a longevity bonus percentage was it for Chris 3 years ago? Was it a percent or a flat rate?
Say it was flat, but hang on 1 second and I'll pull up that budget.
The 109 to 125.
Part of it was an increase and part of it was a longevity
Yeah.
bonus, but I have it in the budget doc.
I believe it was quite shocking at the time, because I remember Mark saying it up, and he told me, he says, you've been here 35 years, give him 10 grand. You guys said yes. So,
I guess my thought is that if it was a percentage, a 35-year bonus should be bigger than a 10-year bonus, whether they're prorated or not.
So that year, we got a 5.9% COLA increase and there was a $10,000 longevity increase
And
for 30.
that longevity increase was just for Chris.
Correct.
So did I understand when you just went through those numbers that you, Jen, Matt, and JR already all just passed the 10-year thing? And did we give you a longevity increase for that yet, or did you just, that's pending?
Yeah.
Okay, so is another way of saying this, that we took care of this guy a couple years ago, but
And we're not saying that you have to.
I understand,
Last
I'm just
year
trying to
we
understand
talked
where we're
about-
at in terms of that. So the three of you are all recently
Do.
qualifying for the 10-year, but we haven't done anything about that. Is that right? Okay.
Either in the past fiscal year or the current coming fiscal year, they will have exceeded that 10-year milestone.
Right.
I would suggest the $3,000 longevity bonuses for 10-year service on top of the COLAs
I would second
for
that.
discussion purposes.
Yeah, no, I think that's good. To get us going. I was gonna say we could do all three at the same time.
Right.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Can I make that motion to move things along?
I'll second. So the motion is to grant longevity bonuses to Jen, Matt, JR
3K
of $3,000
plus COLA.
plus the COLA increase of 2.5%.
That's been made and seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
We want them all to work 35 years and get that 10,000 someday.
Right.
I don't think you'll still want me in the office 25 years from now, Mark.
You'd be surprised. Well, 25 years we'll have a clone of you, Jen.
Right.
Okay.
All right, and then, let's not forget about our superintendent.
So was there.
Do either of you have a recommendation? If not, I'll make recommendation longevity bonus of $5,000 plus COLA of 2.5%.
A question on that before we,
Yes,
so again, just trying to understand where we're at here. We did do a longevity increase the first 3 years ago, is that right?
Correct, 2023.
10K. So when is, I guess my question is, what's the next milestone for a longevity increase? If you got one at 30 years, 35.
Right, last year, you guys didn't give me a large increase because you said we just gave you the longevity, you don't need too much at that point. When we were talking, and then we don't have anything right on that longevity.
So my question is, I guess I'm trying to figure, we talked 10 years, we did one for you 3 years ago, and that was for 35 years?
Yeah.
Now you're at 38.
Correct.
So the question is, how frequently do we do longevity increases?
Well,
not in terms of
Yeah, longevity, okay, that's okay.
exceptional performance, but also adverse conditions because of the short-handed.
Yep, okay, all right, that's fine.
So merit bonus.
Yeah.
Okay.
So your motion was 5K?
Mhm.
I'll second
All in favor?
Aye.
that. Aye.
That gets us to salaries. So we move on to the 5-year capital improvement program.
Yeah,
All right. We have on the sheet for fiscal 2026. Septic system upgrade, wellhead protection area and sewage sewer connection of 150,000. We have a truck replacement, the superintendent's truck. 75,000,
It's actually the pickup, the old superintendent's truck.
old superintendent's truck.
That's, yeah,
So this is the new service truck.
yeah.
What,
And it doesn't have a service body, but it's a pickup still. And that's the cheapest pickup that I can get to be on back end.
this is the 1 ton,
It's gonna be a 3/4 ton.
3/4 ton.
Yeah, right now we have a 1/2 ton and it doesn't handle hardly anything.
Wanted chemicals.
Correct. You know, when we go to pick up something, it's kind of dry, so I've got the 3/4 ton. looked at with a backup plow frame on it, not a plow, just the frame itself. So if something happened with the service truck that plows now, we could use it as a backup. Couple toolboxes in the back to carry tools and stuff like that, and the back seat to keep your electronics dry and everything in. Basically, the truck that's there now is a 3/4 without, instead of that.
Got it, got it. We're postponing water main replacements? You don't anticipate any?
I don't anticipate throwing that out there right now. I don't have an accurate price on it. I do have blueprints done for nothing. I haven't received them, but, GHD did them with some of their,
Interns,
um,
interns.
yeah. So the interns did it as a project this summer and took it all upon, to help out, to have them done for free. So if we do it, while they were doing part of West Pond Road, they threw that in.
Question on that, isn't there a minimum lead part replacement we're supposed to be doing?
Within 10 years, yes.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah, and I'm thinking that there's only 3 that we really have. I have to check again with, the lady from Weston and Sampson, who's helped us out. There were 32,
29
29
unidentified.
unidentified. I can almost identify everyone as being non-lead. Just from myself. Knowing that after Chuck Mitchell was here, not a piece of lead was put in the ground for sure. So anything that's from I'll say 72 on, whatever, maybe it was 76 on, is not gonna have lead in the ground. Not saying that the curb stop may not have had something there at the time. That's the only thing. We'll have to go check. Maybe a couple basements at a certain time that they might have put galvanized in. That's the only thing I'd be worried about. Most of them I will be able to write off as, this was put in the 80s, this is a new development. We don't have to worry about that. This one here, we've done replacement service and had problems there. This is a copper sideline, the house next door. All the sidelines were put in at the same time when the development was built. This is stuff that I should be able to go over with her and say, knowledge of the system can help. On a lot of, the 3 that have galvanized are going to have to be done, and we're gonna have to figure out a way whether we say to the people, you have to pay half, or are we gonna pay for it to be done?
What's the problem with galvanized zinc?
It's the reaction of lead with galvanized, so there could have been lead there at one time. And if that's the case, it does something with the lead.
Okay,
And we have to do 10% a year until all of them are gone.
Right.
and what's the?
10 for 10 years, right?
10% a year for 10 years.
Yeah,
Not
10% a year.
to get off track too much, but what, I'm remembering there was asbestos cement pipes. That then got lined with tetrachloroethylene to fix this asbestos problem.
Yeah, that's,
And the tetrachloroethylene was a problem.
yeah.
Give me the quick, what happened with all that?
Oh, they're still out there, they make people test. You still get a test in every
So we
year.
have
So we
We
do,
have asbestos cement pipes, or do we have the code?
we actually do have asbestos cement up there, bituminous lime.
The line with the.
Yeah, that's well, they said bituminous lime, so I believe that's your tar line, basically. Yeah. Pavement line, so that's what they will put in as, that's what the description is on. So I was always told, because that's a description, we do it once a year, we test somebody on that line, we only have to go from Forsyth Road to just beyond, Point Isabella. It was put in by the US government when that was Camp Conduit over there, I'm pretty sure. And we took it over. Yeah. And that was their way to get it out there, so I'm pretty sure they were the ones who got it out there to feed the couple places that they like.
They didn't get off track, sorry.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
All right, so we'll postpone water main replacements in fiscal 26. So that brings us to a new heating, ventilation and air conditioning for the office at 20,000. Generator evaluation station, when we discussed that, that's the wiring situation.
Yeah,
We won't know until insurance rules what we're gonna do there.
Right.
Cybersecurity, we got a $60,000 expense. What's that?
That is first stages of our cybersecurity assessment of DEP accepting, the stuff that's there. They'll give us a grant if we do so much work. We can probably get a $30,000 grant to get that done. So we'll only be actually spending $30,000. That's gonna be upgrading and putting in, replacing certain things and putting in redundancy and different two-part authorization and everything else, all the different things. I can get you the exact stuff. If you want to take a peek at that, I can probably pass that around to you if you'd like. I do have that on.
But this is to get us into compliance.
Right, to make, this is something that, when we had the cyber assessment done, it's like a 5-year plan, and they wanted me to spend over $200,000. I told them, some of it's ridiculous, some of it's, I said, give me best case scenario, let's go back and we revisit it. They wanted 90 to do, we talked about it, I got them down to 60.
Is this to prevent basically somebody hacking into the system?
Yeah, and I don't know if you know right now, Born, I think it is, got hacked and they were out for like three weeks fully. I don't know if they're still fully back. They got hit pretty bad. Yeah, it is. It's tough to get in there, and I think they're the second one on the Cape.
What's the motive of somebody to do that? Just
Because they can.
for fun?
Because they can.
And they'll hit you for rent. And once they get in, they'll scramble the data, and they'll say, well, unscramble it because.
Yeah.
A large amount of raw. This is coming down from Department of Homeland Security, water systems, really.
Yeah.
BOWC.
Yeah, everybody was required to do one for the sanitary survey, was what pushed off our sanitary survey and get certified on it.
You said there's a chance of getting a grant for maybe half of that.
Yes, and I'm having them look for others.
Was it worth flagging on here with asterisk or something, places where we think we might get grants? Just so when we go through it with the finance committee, we can at least remember to tell them we're gonna try to get some.
Yeah, we were, when we finished our sanitary survey, the guy told me, he says, I have to go to a meeting, but I want you to know you guys are qualified to get a $30,000 grant.
Okay.
Now I gotta go buy it. And that's how we left it. And I told the engineers, I said, follow up, let's see what we can do.
Well, let's discuss the things that we know we're gonna go forward on capital. Improvement. That's the truck, the HVAC, and the printer copier skin. Cybersecurity as well.
Just so you know, too, that HVAC was put in 1986.
Or, I think,
I started in 85. and I remember
or
it being
8,
done.
I don't know.
87, so it was 88. It was 1988, because it was a year after I started.
It almost did not last,
The AC didn't
spring when
work.
we turned on the AC. So far, the heat in my area works. I don't know so much about Chris's area, but it does mine and really.
Good enough. But they don't make it.
So it looks like that one bunch was highlighted in yellow.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I would suggest we take that until we get this legislation. So maybe we take that out of there, and I'd also suggest, we get a lot of words in here. Septic upgrade, wellhead, sewer, why don't we just nix all that, call it wastewater treatment, as sort of a generic, because I think the latest thought is, instead of doing the septic upgrade, we might try to do that collection system I talked about. And we're still talking in town about connecting, so I think wastewater treatment maybe is a good generic for that. And I would suggest just deleting the number for this year, although I do wanna, I still do wanna solicit that proposal. I don't know, does that come under engineering or legal? We spent 10 to 20K on an engineering study for that.
It does, we gotta let me know how much it's gonna be.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'll make sure.
I thought I'd have the proposal for this meeting, but maybe for next meeting.
Share. So, our ask would be for $188,500. Which could go down by 30 if we get a grant. The social security is, just a 158.
150, yeah.
When do these due? When we have this discussion,
When you go to Prudential,
do we need to make a motion to make any alterations to the capital?
I don't know.
budget, or do we just
what was the total you came up with, Dave?
Not the 5-year pledge is what we're ready yet.
I think what we just discussed makes sense. If you want a motion, I'll give it to you.
158.5 minus 30 grand, is that what you were saying?
188 minus 30 is 158. That's for the
75.
asterisk on the cybersecurity. So,
95.
so I took the total for the column of 308,500.
Um,
Took off the 150.
Yep.
Highlighted in yellow.
Yep,
And then that leaves
158
158.
minus 30, so possibly 128. Okay,
so moved.
Second? Favor?
Second.
All right. Does that get us through budget? Or not?
gets us through budget, nice job.
Superintendent evaluation?
I looked through it, Chris pre-filled out here, I think it's pretty accurate. Already given them already, so, but I think, my sense is, as you said earlier, Mr. Chair, I think working with one hand tied behind your back, mostly a staff person, and keeping everybody happy and on track, I think it's been a very good year. Chris continues to be, I think, approachable and responsive, and friendly and professional. So I have no.
What's pre-filled out is last year's report.
Yeah, that's last.
Oh, okay, okay.
But yeah, I'm all those things.
Yeah, I for one don't know that we need to go through each one, but if we do, we do.
I didn't bring with me, but I did fill out the
Okay,
form. And, you know, I didn't bring it with me. But I gave, the superintendent, it exceeds in all areas of performance. And as I told the woman who cut my hair, gave me a haircut today, tonight's meeting, she said, well, what's the biggest threat to her drinking water? I said, retirement of
oh, for sure. Yeah, no,
So excellent job, Chris.
yeah,
And I will share with the other commissioners that all my thought
okay,
this year, but we can, if we can postpone until the next meeting, we can bring that and review it and sign it.
okay, I agree.
Which brings us to CCR content. That is not the annual report for the district, that is the report confidence.
Stop sharing this. So in prior years, some of our commissioners who shall remain nameless do not necessarily care for the usability and content of our CCR. It is a very technical document. It is very small. And, but there are many requirements the DEP requires that we have in here. So finally, he brought me a report from a different district, and I love the format of it. The charts are a bit bigger to read, the layout is great. We can send it out as a direct mailer, since they're not going in a bill now, they don't have to fit in an envelope. But I have about a page, and I've laid out all of the requirements from SDP, I've made the chart bigger, but I have about a page, quarter and a half for content, with additional room for content. So I would like your input as to what would make it more user-friendly and what type of articles you would like to include in there. And I've got to do it soon because we got to get it to the printers if we're going to get it out to meet DEP's deadline.
It has to, when does it go to the printer, John?
So I believe we have to have it out by March 31st.
Right.
I will need to meet with Jerry before the end of this month.
Yeah.
Well,
So-
go ahead, Mark.
Well, my main complaint is, and I was accosted by a neighbor last 4th of July parade who was just arriving for the summer, and she said, "You guys have a big PFAS problem. I see all these numbers here. You have PFAS." I said, "Yeah, we have PFAS, and everybody has PFAS. It's a question of exceeding limits, and you have to read and understand." And so I showed her and I explained it to her, but um, we need a general paragraph that reassures people that the drinking water meets or exceeds all standards, is healthy to drink. Um, and I mean, that's the main thing. We need to explain that table better. And as a summary, somewhere it needs a summary if it doesn't have it. I think also if you've got a lot of blank space, that's the perfect place to put in some of these initiatives that we've been, you know, understandably and quite rightly proud of in terms of reducing demand, different measures, the well report, the private wells that have been expanding, the increased testing that we've been doing. So I think, we could each write a paragraph about the things that we think are most important for people to know, basically. So maybe if we could just divide up the free space and come up with each of us with a paragraph, and then I'd be happy to edit them together to make it coherent. But would that make sense?
Well, those were exactly the two things I was gonna recommend. I think the two things we should communicate is clarification on the PFAS. I agree with you. We can't not talk about it, but we gotta talk about it in a way that, I think the message is that one of the messages, we're doing more testing than is required.
Right.
Well, the first message is we're meeting all the standards, right? That's number one. Number two is we're doing more testing than required because we want to stay on top of it. We want to stay ahead of the ballgame. And then I agree with you. So I'll volunteer to write the PFAS paragraph. I would like to get either Tom or Mark Nelson, and I'll take care of that to look at it because they're the LSP experts. I want to make sure I get it right, but I'll draft that paragraph. I think the other one is, Mark, is that you're right. Dave, you got accolades when you went to report to the town council about what we're doing with the water conservation and so I think that's the other one, right? Paragraph on that.
It would be nice, this morning I drafted the report of the Board of Water Commissioners for fiscal year
Yep.
2024. That ended last July, and there's a big gap that's taken place since then.
Right.
And I think if we can use this, note the fact that we've done a sodium workshop.
Yeah.
that We're keeping an eye
Yes.
on, and bring people up to date. Because other than that, our only venue is the Civic Association newsletter,
Right.
and 100 words at most.
Yep.
And so, let's bring people up to date and also put those results in context. So that Mark doesn't have to explain it during the break.
And I'll look again, but I hate to say this, one of the things they don't want us, and it's a state, but one of the things they don't want to see in the consumer confidence one is someone saying, your water's safe to drink.
Yeah, we can't say safe because safe is
Correct,
objective.
you can't say safe to drink, you want
It's subjective.
specifications.
They want us to say it meets standards.
It meets standards, that's what they want you to say.
So the implication is the
You can
standard.
say, it meets and exceeds.
You
It
may
takes me
think
what?
that chlorine is not safe to drink.
Right.
You personally may think that chlorine is safe to drink, or water with sodium at a certain level is not safe to
Right.
drink. It's subjective.
Yeah, I get it, because some people, the fact that there are trace levels of PFAS,
Mhm. It's not
some
safe.
people may not want to drink the water. They're gonna have to really look hard to find some water. I guarantee it's in bottled water. If they want to go there, I'm sure it's there.
Oh, I heard it today, it is.
Wow.
Yeah.
Bottled water has plenty of plasticizers in it. You want to get your good dose of PFAS plastic, go get bottled water.
So Jen, you need, this stuff from us before the end of the month, so we've got like a few days.
Yeah, today's what, the 19th?
Okay.
Yeah,
We'll run.
yeah.
Um,
Give me a minute.
Let's start that next week.
So Scott's taking PFAS,
Yep.
Mark?
Well, I'd like to talk about the, water conservation and, um, but I think, just, and then some of the other things that's been mentioned that I do think that we're doing a lot more than other commissioners that I see around the Cape, frankly. I've been to meetings where basically there's a lot of nodding, not a lot of initiative. So we should let people know that this stuff is going on in this sleepy little village that's kind of innovative.
Yeah, and also discuss the water rates to an extent.
Yeah, no, that's part of it. And how, we've lowered it for some, we've lowered it for everybody, we've increased it for the heavy users, and that is not affecting revenues as far as we can tell. Is that true? Yeah. So, I mean, and that we are self-funding on operations, certainly, right? So I think there's a lot to say. I'll tell you what, Dave, I'll draft something, and then push it to you, and you can add some things that I forgot, and then we'll see if we could make it fit. Um, but yeah, I think like a half-year report is what you're saying instead of an annual report. Yeah.
Exactly, because when this annual report gets handed out in May, it's so out of date.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. Yeah.
I mean, I started going through the minutes and I stopped at July and I was like, wait a second, I'm reading minutes from 2023. So,
Yeah. I always thought that too.
So let's set ourselves a deadline of how about, next Wednesday or something.
Jen, send out an email, pass on this.
Jen,
Right.
you set the deadline.
Reminder.
Uh,
Okay, so that is the 26th. I'll email you on Monday and say, hey, you got 2 days.
I'll try to get you something, Dave, this weekend.
Thank you.
Shall we move on to the review and approval of prior meeting minutes? We have two sets to approve, the regular meeting of January 15th and the special meeting of February 5th, which was Zoom only. Fellow commissioners, have we had a chance to review the minutes? And do you have any changes?
I have not read that.
Would you take a minute?
Never go on a special, you were the only one there, but I don't think Mark.
Mark wasn't able.
I wasn't at the special meeting. By the way, where did that letter go? I don't think I ever saw it. Did it get signed and sent?
I signed it, sent it back to Jen.
Yep, and I emailed and mailed.
We actually, yeah, we put it in to be paid.
No, this was the special meeting about the,
Can you send me a
Conservation.
copy of that letter, John?
will do.
Please,
Do it
thank
right
you.
now.
While you guys are doing that, you don't really have to listen to this, Scott. I just want you to say that your last increase is working. Just for one day, I sat in front of the desk for 4 hours. I got 2 phone calls for a mock out for people putting in wells. So for irrigation. So as soon as the went out, some people called right away. At least 2 more going in town.
I believe they're like 102 now, maybe 104.
Something like that. Let me know.
Chris, is it true we did get the water permit approved? Automatically?
Yes. Good, you see that?
No, I just.
No, I was talking to Jim about that today. I said, I don't know if they want a copy of it to see what we have. Has everything in there, but it is there anytime you want to view it at the office.
All right, I can move to approve the 1:15:25 minutes.
Second.
All in favor?
All right,
Aye.
there's another one here.
Yeah.
My paperwork's got mixed up here. What's the short one?
That's just you and me. Commissioner Robinson wasn't able to do that.
That's the Portland, right. All right, I'll move to approve the 02:05 minutes.
On a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I'm gonna abstain on that one.
Okay. Any matters not anticipated by the chair?
Your, your letter, your draft letter for fiscal year 24 annual report is in the packet for everyone to look at. If you have any feedback, let me know. Otherwise, we'll submit.
I think it looks good. But just to let you know, I'm not gonna.
Thank you, and thank you for feeding me, some facts and figures fit to include. Additional public comment, is there any? Seeing none, we will look at the next date of the board.
19th,
19th.
that works. Wait a minute. Nope, all right. I am gone that week. Sorry, I can do it remotely, but if you want to try to do it in person.
I'm open on the 12th. And
Yeah, we talked to it before, because that might be one of the days we have to make a meeting for credentials, we might have to finalize anything.
The 12th would be good then?
I'm not available on the 12th.
I can't,
sorry?
the 12th is hard for me.
the 26th, too late.
26 is good.
Yep.
We'll meet on March 26th. Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
So move.
Second.
All in favor? Adjourn. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you, guys.